All right, fellas, I'm sitting out here in the garage this morning. Boy, I tell you what, look at this. It's only 50 degrees out here right now, 50.6. Man, it's a little chilly, but it'll warm up a little bit. But I'm sitting here looking at my back of my workbench here and looking at the models that I've built. And here's the 41 wheelers I just completed, and it's looking pretty good. But now, guys, I'm on to my next project. And I gotta tell you what, this 66 Mustang, I started on this. This was gonna be a pro street, which it still is gonna be a pro street. But I started on here a while back, and I just couldn't get into it. I don't know what the deal was, so I stuck her on the back of the bench, and it's been back there for a pretty good while, quite a few months. But I pulled her out. I thought I would get on this one next and see if I can't get through it. I got that engine that's sitting there. That's from the old Iceman. That's that blown Ford 429 engine. Man, I tell you, I had to end up. Let me get my pointer here. I had to end up cutting those shock tires from about midway down because the heads were actually touching in there. Now, I did a little research for these big old blown 429s and the 66 Mustang, and the research I saw, the engine wasn't that wide down in there because the headers on the ones that I saw were actually coming up and passing right across the shock tires, heading towards the back and dumping down in there. So I don't think this is all to scale, so I had to do a little cutting on those shock tires, but I got it down in there and I think it looks okay. That's the way it's going to be anyway. But, and I don't know if you can see, but inside it looks like the transmission, which is sitting right there, it's going to be too high. But I can't go any lower because if you look, I've got the engine sitting all the way down on that front suspension, so it can't go any lower. And then I had issues with the interior. You know, the chassis that's underneath this thing is from the AMT 66 Nova Pro Street. That's one that I had been using just for a mock-up chassis, but I decided to go ahead and use it. And you can see I've done some carving on the transmission tunnel down in there. But I'm gonna go ahead and use this one. I think I'll paint the back section of this, leave the back seat out, because I had to cut all that up. I had to try and get this in there, the dash and the door panels to fit up on that chassis out of that old Nova. I had to cut the bottom of these door panels off because they were too tall. But I'm gonna have a problem with the back sections here on what to do with those because they kind of stick out. So man, this thing, just everything I do to this just fight me. It's just not wanting to work with me here. So I don't know what's going on. This is the old engine that come in this kit. I put it in the bag. I originally thought maybe I could use the short block of this and then take the parts off this Iceman engine, this blown 429, just use the upper portion of it. But man, it's just too big for this little engine here. You guys remember back in the day when Hertz was renting these suckers here for, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks a day? Man, you could go out, and these things were putting out over 300 horsepower. You could go out on a late Saturday before the rental place would close and rent one of these bad boys and keep it for the weekend for less than 40 bucks and go out and have a few races, and it was pretty cool back then. I think Ford built about 1,000 of these things and had a deal going on with Hertz. And then after the rental thing was done with, they all went back to the Ford dealerships and I don't know where they went back, but they went back to Ford and they revamped them and then sold them, I think, to the public. But those were fun times back then, weren't they? But anyway, guys, I just thought I'd show you here. I don't know where I'm gonna do here. I think that's what I'm going with right there. That's a bad looking engine, isn't it? I just love the detail on the heads and everything on this engine. I think it's sitting in there pretty good. So that's how it's gonna be, I guess. You guys know I've been working on this 37 Ford monster truck as well. Got that little 302 small block Ford up there. I think I'm gonna let that sit for a little while and kind of concentrate on this. I want to get the hard stuff done on this thing. I want to get that engine and transmission in place to where it's gonna, its final resting place. I want to get that all solved. And the interior, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with the back of this, because when it sits down in there, guys, there's a big gap between the back of the door panel here and the to the door. There's a big gap. I mean, if you look in the back window back here, you'll be able to see it. So I don't know what, I tried to take some flat stock, just some sheet stock, and make an angled piece to go back to the door, but that just didn't work out very well. So I don't know what I'm gonna do there. But the seats, they seem to sit down right down on that floor pan pretty good. That's how I'm gonna do them, just glue them right down to that floor pan. Because this is not going to have any kind of a nice interior or anything in it, because it's a Pro Street, and the guy the old boy that built this, he's just taking it out on the weekends, Friday and Saturday night, and trying to give him a couple races. So it's not a cruising car, it's a race car. So all right, fella, just thought I'd show you what I got going on here and the troubles I'm having with this '66 Mustang, but like all my builds, I have trouble with all of them, don't I, guys? All right, guys, I'm done.